There we go. Boy, you don't stream for a few weeks and you forget how to do everything. So, how is everybody doing? Hopefully you're all doing well. I can see you. I feel like that is just a little bit low. Is that better? That's getting there. I can't really see my there we go. Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there. We're getting there. Almost. It's been a while since I streamed, and boy does it show. So, studio's coming along. I'm gonna be doing a whole thing about like putting it all together and you know how it's going. All right. Put this over here so I can get a little more light on my face because that's pretty dark and shadowy, right? Feels very dark and shadowy. And we're there. We'll do this. Hopefully this has got some juice in it. Oh, that's good. That's how I can tell my kids have been playing with stuff. There we go. Now we're getting there. Yeah. All right. I can handle that. That'll work for the rest of the stream. That's all I'm going to do because I'm already 13 minutes late. So, welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing well. Glad to have you here. I literally was climbing down a mountainside, racing back to get here in time. If you've seen the post on the community post, then you know where I was back up in the mountains yesterday and today. Excuse me. Did I bring my water in? Oh, good. I did. Yeah. Anyway, good to have you all here. Good to be back streaming. Good to see you all. Videos coming. Action 3, GoPro 11 comparison. Take 2 coming soon. And Action 3 in general review. So, yeah, we're going to see if DJI fixed the issues with the early actions. Hopefully they did. And other stuff. Mavic 3 1-year review is coming soon as well. So anyway, if you haven't been on the stream before, the reason I do this stream is because I wanted the opportunity and the place to where we could have more of a conversation about questions you might have, because I can only do so much in the comments. And yeah. So if you have questions, ask in the stream here, and we'll do more of a back and forth about it and chat. Yeah. The nice thing is, daylight's getting longer. The sunlight's getting warmer up here, which means that actually we're in this weird time where, like, whatever side of you is facing the sun is warm, sometimes hot, and whatever side of you is not facing the sun is frozen. And, yeah, so it makes for interesting times. But I'm glad the daylight's getting longer, and we get to actually do that. And, a few months back, when they released the night mode for the DJI Mavic 3, I promised to like go out and film the aurora with the Mavic 3. I've gone out multiple times. None of the times I've gone out, the aurora has the aurora like shown and done anything it was supposed to do. Most of the times that I have not gone out, the aurora has shown. Go figure. So I'm just gonna go full on like night mode and live at night, or stay awake all night for the next couple of weeks and hopefully get something anyway. But that is coming because I think it's possible. I was messing around with the Mavic and I was actually able to do like some astro photography with the Mavic 3. So and maybe we'll see. It'll be a fun video either way. Anyway, so yeah, welcome to the stream. If it's your first time, this is the place where I ramble on about nothing for a while and give you hopefully answers to questions you've got. So I know Jonathan was here. One Visionarial. Hey, Naaman Lambo Drives. How's it going? One Jimmy J. Nice to see you. Phantom Flight 101. How's it going, man? I was just down in your neck of the woods. Well, sort of your neck of the woods. I was actually in Delaware, in Wilmington, for a very brief amount of time a couple weeks ago. And it was fun. It was also cold and wintry there too, which is weird. Surprising there. Drone Pilot Contractors. Hi, Jackson's Drones. Loading Fish Mode. Marcel. Did I miss anybody? If I miss anybody, sorry about that. But yeah, good to have you all. Look at how messy this is. just like I've been going, just throwing my crap everywhere. It's, yeah, sorry. But, so I do need to know, because I'm going back and forth about it. That background, I like the background. I just am not sure about the color. I keep thinking about making these, the upright things, like a darker color. What do you think? Should I make them darker color or not? You've seen them in the last couple videos I put out. So anyway, hey Alaska filmmaker. Yeah, it has been a while. Okay, so, and yes, the guitars will go back up once I kind of finalize everything I want to do. So shutter speed, welcome to the stream. There you go. And One Vision Ariel, thank you for becoming a channel supporter. You now get to watch behind the scenes videos of me whining and complaining about how cold it is. But sometimes not. Like the last behind the scenes video I posted was actually from last summer or 2 summers ago, and I realized I never posted it when I went and reviewed a lens, but it's cool. I think it's cool. So yeah. I will Phantom Flight. In fact, I had a job that was supposed to be like in New York City proper. And then the client decided to go another direction with what they want to do. At least for now, we'll see. Maybe it'll come back up because I was really hoping to get back down there and actually do a meetup. Like I would like to meet you. Eddie Nunez lives down there. A few other people live in the area. So I would really love to meet up. But yeah, hey Arizona Drone Dude. So too busy sometimes. Yeah. So let's see. Drone technology. Thank you. I appreciate the kind words, man. Guitars. Yeah, I answered that. Okay, drone pilot contractors. What are my thoughts on the Air 2S fixed aperture versus the Mavic 2 Pro variable aperture or the Mavic 3 variable aperture? So, Jackson's Drones, I'll answer you next. And Dynadrone, hey. So the variable aperture on the Mavic 2 Pro or the Mavic 3 is incredibly valuable when it comes to working in dynamic conditions where the lighting is changing. So you got clouds like moving through. That's very, very helpful there. And yeah, so it is extremely helpful. The Air 2S or the Mini 3 Pro or the Mini 2, because they have fixed aperture, is a little bit harder to deal with. Basically there, you have to put on an ND filter that's a little bit darker than you need, bump your ISO up to like 200 or 400, and then use your ISO to kind of, vary when you're in the conditions, depending on what the conditions are doing. So the variable aperture is extremely useful in that regard. Is it necessary? No, not really, but I do like it and I use it a lot. In fact, I sold my Mini 3 Pro because the Mavic 3 is such a good drone, and I've been using it so much. I don't know, I've flown, what did it say? I don't know, it's like 1,000 hours last year, which is a lot of flight time. And, or maybe it was 1,500 hours last year. I can't remember. I remember I got the little thing on DJI, and I remember it was 1,000 hours or 1,500 hours. It was a lot. It was a lot of flight time. And it just, like, the Mavic 3 is such a good drone, so I really stick with that pretty much. That's all I fly now, and Inspire 2s and bigger drones. But, yeah, that's about it. So that's what I stick to. Jackson's Drones. Do I know what fluid head tripod would be a budget-friendly? So the most budget-friendly Jackson Drones is, at least that I recommend, is the, what is it? I have it sitting over here. It's the Manfrotto 290 XL and a 501, not 501. Let me grab it. Actually, it's a smaller one than this, so it's not this particular model. This is the MVH 502. I think it's the 501, MVH 501. And then this is the 190. I think they make a 290 that's a little cheaper. So it's still going to be a couple few hundred dollars, but it's, I wouldn't necessarily go cheaper than that for fluid head. It just, yeah, I wouldn't go cheaper than that. iFootage makes some really nice stuff too. as far as their fluid heads. What is it, the K5? I have that one as well. That's really nice, and I do like their tripods as well. The TC7, TC5, I think is the one I've got, and then their K5 fluid head. So I think they're about in the same budget, so it just kind of depends on what you need and what you want. Either one of those would be great. I hope that makes sense. I did do a review of the iFootage one on my channel quite a few years back. So let's see. Yeah, drone technology. I see you there. Wind there, 71 miles an hour. Wow, that is windy. Wow. Dang. Okay, let's see. Like cherry or mahogany stain would look great. Yeah, mahogany's a little too dark for what I want One Vision, but I am thinking cherry. I want something that has a little tinge of red in it. So the cherry definitely, yeah, but the mahogany is too dark. I don't like, it's too brown. It's too dark and too brown, if that makes sense. But, so cherry, possibly. Something in the cherry range. And yes, it is cold, but it is stunning. It is stunning. Hey, Kyle Watts. I was just watching one of your videos the other day. What video was that? That was a great video, though. Anyway. Was it really good? If I can't remember what it was, well, maybe. I've been watching a lot too many videos lately. Anyway, but yeah. Yeah, Dynadrone, I see that. You guys are getting some hardcore winter this year. And the Air 2S is back up. Yeah, and that's a great combo. The Air 2S is a solid drone. And the Mavic 2 Pro and the Air 2S work well together because of this 1-inch sensor thing. It's very good. Fogging on the lens of the Mini 3 Pro. You've had it happen at least twice, Donald. So, Donald, is it on the outside of the lens? Like, can you wipe it off? Or is it on the inside of the lens? Like, where you can't wipe it off? I'm very curious about that, because that's a different issue. Evening, Barkley. 107 Drones. I just watched a video of you and Ken and the State Trooper. So, I always appreciate how you handle law enforcement, or anything after being with you when you handle law enforcement. One time you did a great job, and you do a great job, so I appreciate that, man. I did have a couple run-ins because I was working on the Chicago Auto Show a couple weeks ago, and yeah, let's just say, you know, I had a run-in with security, and anyway, they were nice, and I had a media pass and everything, so they were cool. But I appreciated how the security guy approached me. He didn't come on at me aggressively or anything like that. He just was like, "Hey, we saw a drone flying around. Is it you? Is it your drone?" I said, "Yeah, it is, and I'm here with you know, media company, well, with a TV station." And I said, if you give me a minute, I'm putting the drone away, and then I'm happy to show you my media pass and stuff. So, but it did make me think of you, 107 Drones, Sparkly, how you handled that one time. So anyway, yeah. Okay, somebody asked me a question. I got to back up just a little bit. The M&R. You've mentioned while shooting in log, you like to slightly overexpose. Is it only related to DJI drones or all cameras? Also, what is the technical reason for overexposing in log? M&R. That's a great question. So with DJI, like D-Log, I don't tend to overexpose that much. Unless I'm shooting on snow, and then I overexpose a little bit on snow because there's so much light being bounced off snow, it will throw your auto exposure meter off, or your exposure meter off. And so if you use auto exposure, it will underexpose because it thinks everything's way too bright, because the snow is bright. It is. It's a huge white reflector. So I tend to overexpose 1.3 to 1.7 on snow, depending on lighting conditions. And that's just something you have to do across the board on most cameras. You have to overexpose on snow because of the amount of light being bounced by the snow into the sensor. It kind of throws everything off. But not on snow for D-Log, I tend to expose fairly neutrally. I might overexpose by 0.3 or 0.7 at the most, but generally I expose D-Log or drone log pretty evenly. For S-Log on Sony cameras, I overexpose by 1.7 to 2 stops because S-Log has this massive amount of dynamic range, and you get the cleanest, how do I say this? So long as you're not overexposing your highlights, which you can do the same on D-Log if you're watching your histogram, so long as you're not overexposing your highlights, you can pull the shadows down to get rid of any noise you don't like, and you get a very clean image. And I probably just need to do a video about this. Otherwise, it'll be very confusing. But and maybe that's what I'll do. I'll do a video about it. But yeah, that's what I do. So I tend to expose to where my highlights are not overexposed unless I have to because of my subject matter or material is like I have to expose for subject material first. But I try not to overexpose my highlights. And then I don't worry about the shadows because you can always make the shadows black. You can always crush the shadows in post. But if you lose your highlights, then they're gone. And then it is much harder to pull the entire image up to make your highlights where you need to be than it is to like crush the shadows and make the noise disappear in the shadows. If that makes any sort of sense, I don't know. But yeah, that's what I do. So I tend to watch my histogram on D-Log. Dynadrone, do the video. I got it. I'll do the video. But I tend to watch my histogram on D-Log to make sure I'm not overexposing my highlights. That's pretty much all I care about. Because if you keep your highlights good, then the rest is all just whatever you want. If you overexpose your highlights, then you're really screwed. If you underexpose too much, then when you're pulling all of the image up, you'll pull the noise and the shadows up with it. So, yeah. I'll do a video about it. How about that? I'll just do a video about it. So, yeah. Now I'm getting all kinds of notifications, of course. No notifications all day long, but now I'm getting a bunch. Kyle Watts from Gothenburg. Oh, right on, dude. That sounds awesome. Cherry would be perfect. Give it a nice red hue with your lighting. That's what I'm thinking, One Vision. So I like this because it's brighter than and I like it's just a little more flexible. And I'm doing more on other side. You can see like storage over here. And I'm putting a video together about this too, by the way. Whole video about this whole studio makeover thing that I'm doing. So yeah, but I think the Cherry will work well overall. So I think unfortunately, I think I have to pull those all apart and restain them because I can't stain them while they're on there because of the fabric that's behind it and the acoustic treatment that's built in behind it. Anyway, this kind of sucks, but whatever. It's 100 of them. It's 100 slats. There's 100 slats there. Let's see. Copper State. Hey, sorry you can't stay too, but this will be up. I'll leave it up. You can watch the replay if you care to. Donald Miller. What hard cases are my go-to cases? Donald, I use Pelican cases for pretty much everything. Pelican or Nanook are excellent. Either one of those is great. That's what I use. So I have like 2 Pelican 1615s that I use when I'm traveling on airplanes as my check-on luggage. I use a 1535 as my carry-on. And then I have a 1525 as well. And then I have a 2710, something like that, storm case for one of my big FPV drones. But I really like Pelican cases. Nanook cases are excellent too. And I have a mix. I like the Trek Pack or Tech Pack stuff, which is like these like interlocking, not interlocking, but well, there are interlocking foam things that you can make. But then I also have a few of them that are the padded dividers that you can kind of just reconfigure any other way. I really like those as well. So either of those are great. And I know, I don't know if Nanook offers the Tech Pack stuff, but they do offer the padded dividers, and I would definitely encourage you to do that over the pluck foam stuff. I've done the pluck foam stuff, and it works for certain things, but for the most versatility, which I need, the Tech Pack or the padded dividers works better. Let's see. Inside. Mark, you got an RS3 mini gimbal looking at the Sony 1635 f4 and the or the 20 to 40 millimeter Tamron, which whatever I got A7 IV, looking for something easier to use. You have the 1635 GM, it's heavy. So personally, Mark, and when I did the Tamron 20 to 40 millimeter review, I did do a comparison between the 16 to 35 f4 and the 20, so you can see the difference in focal ranges, focal lengths. Personally, I end up using the 20 to 40 a lot because of its lower light performance. It's better low light performance. Size, weight-wise, they're pretty much almost the same. I mean, there's just not enough difference to even be like, spoken about. So that's what I do. I find 20 is plenty for me, but if you're doing real estate stuff, the 16 is going to be where you're going to want to be. So, yeah. Do video. Okay, let's see. Video. If you shoot video with the A7C and A7 IV in shutter priority mode, not using any picture profile, can you see a difference in skin tones? Yes. The A7C has an older color science from Sony, so it has a little more green shift to it, where the A7 IV has a more magenta hue to it, which makes skin tones look more accurate. Hey, Mark H. Have I used Luminar software? Yes, I have. What do I like? What do I use? I use Luminar. Where is it? Luminar 4 is what I've got. I like it overall. I still find myself using Lightroom more, but yeah. You just got to clean up all the crap on the floor. Right? It's because I come in and literally dump my bag out the other day because when I did the tips on how to fly drones in the wintertime, my bag got so much snow in there by the end of it was wet by the time I got home because all the snow melted. So I just dumped everything out and let the bag hang overnight to dry. So yeah. Dynadrone, thank you very much for the super chat. I do deeply appreciate super chats, you guys, and stickers or whatever. The support means a lot to me because it enables me to do what I'm trying to do on this channel, which is help you all and give you something, fun to watch and also informative as well. Green screen, Alaska Filmer. Nah, I like the real thing, man. It's like tactile buttons and knobs versus digital ones on a screen where you just use a mouse. I much prefer tactile stuff. Anyway, Mavic Air 2, Triple Tech 8. Last year, the previews quit loading on the Triple Tech. It's a great 20 inch. Yes, it is. I don't know why the previews stopped. Lambo, you love your Storm case? Yeah, I like all of my Pelican cases for everything. They're fantastic. They're not cheap, but they're wonderful. I've packed a lot of expensive gear in the 1615s and then checked them onto an airline luggage, and everything has always arrived safely. So that's a big deal. Oh, thank you, One Vision. I appreciate that you put me up there with Peter. That is very flattering. Thank you. Don Miller, you definitely like Nenook cases. You try the Cymic 2. Yeah, I have one Cymic case, and that's for one of my Mavic 3s. And it's fine. It's a fine case, especially because it's all custom fit. It's great. But for any of the larger stuff, camera stuff, travel stuff, I would trust Nanook or Pelican more. Yeah. Anyway. Kyle Watts, the 16-35 GM Mark II. Exactly. It is. And it will probably be smaller and lighter. I don't know how much smaller and lighter they could make it, but it'll probably have that external aperture ring, which would be great. Yeah. I'm looking forward to that. I really want to get the 70-200 Mark II because after using that lens, it's a really good lens. It's also very expensive, and it's yeah. All right, Jackson's Drones. I should be on next week. I should be able to stream more regularly now because all my travel work is kind of dying down for the next little while, which I'm good with. Mark, have I used the new 50mm 1.4 GM lens from Sony? No. I did request it, but I am not on the list of people big enough, important enough, and influencer-y enough to get them before the embargo days. So, yeah, hopefully I'll get it in the next little bit, because I would really like to test that, because I was considering the 50 millimeter 1.2 GM. I have a 55 1.8, which I love, but the 50 1.4 looks like it might be a really, really good lens. So I need to do that. But yeah, I haven't yet, but I have asked for it. So as soon as they have one available, I should have it in hand and be able to test it. I did test the 20 to 70 f4. My only issue with that lens is it's an f4, and I realized like I really do need f2.8 on a lot of stuff I do. And so you know, I still have the 16 to 35 f4 power zoom, which I do use for things. But beyond that, like f2.8 is a pretty necessary thing for me, especially in the winter here, because I do a lot of stuff in dark, dim light. MC Cases and Pelican are the ones you have, Dynadrone. They're excellent. Andy, content creator. I like it. It's a good name. You both do fantastic work. Photographic subjects are on the opposite end of the spectrum as Peter's. Thanks, One Fishing. I appreciate that. Yeah, Peter's quite the photographer, man. I don't feel like I could keep up with him. But it is one of my goals. So I do have a question for you all. Last year I did one video that was like street photography POV, where I just basically walked around and did like photos. Would you like to see more of that kind of content on my channel, of like me hiking through the woods looking for subjects to photograph? Yeah, I'm curious. Let me know. Let me know if you'd like to see more of that or not. Alaska Filmer, Luminar works great for you. Yeah, I like Luminar for portrait editing, especially headshots and stuff. It's very good for that. I just haven't messed with it enough on landscape. The few times I have, I've been very impressed with what it could do. I just didn't mess with it enough to really like get into it very deeply. So yeah, anyway. And if you're wondering all, because I was out hiking today, this is a wool base layer underneath my t-shirt, and then layers are very important up here. Mohammed, have I finished with my helicopter pilot license? Mohammed, I have not even, well, that's not true. I have 1 hour signed off, thanks to the heli pilot Lee. I have 1 hour of signed off instruction time. So no, I have not. I would like to get it this year. We'll see how things go. It's expensive, and it takes, I mean, it takes time for sure, but it takes a fairly significant commitment of finances. And, you know, I'm not sure. We'll see. We'll see. Yes to the POVs. Okay, Kyle. My thought is to go like, look, today we're going to try and go out and photograph this. An eagle, a bear, a glacier. I don't know. Whatever it might be. Like, but the idea is like, kind of like the Aurora video that I did, where I was going out to shoot an Aurora, or the light video, the light painting video that I did, where it's like, look, we're going to go out and this is the goal. We're going to try and do this. And then like the POV of like going out and trying to do that, I think could be kind of fun. But it's also not something that I've done much on my channel before. So, you know, it would be obviously mixed with a lot of what you see already, which is drone shots and me hiking through the woods, complaining about how far I'm hiking, and looking for subject material to photograph. And then talking through like what lens choice and what, you know, shutter speed, aperture, all of that, talking through all of that as part of the video and part of the process. Like, you know, if you're going to go out and shoot eagles, what lens do you want to use? What kind of shutter speeds you want to use? All of that sort of stuff would be all mixed in there. So they would be educational, but they would be like more story driven for sure, and a lot differently paced than any like sort of review stuff. Yeah. So there. Okay. Seems like you have a lot. Cotton kills, synthetic or wool for certain. Lambo. Yeah, exactly. And that's what this is. Smart wool base layers, which I love. Absolutely fantastic. This is a synthetic. I don't know. something or other. and then I have my Gore-Tex shell, which is the Arc'teryx red jacket that you see me wear a lot. And then I also usually have a fleece layer under that. And I almost always have a very high quality, very cold weather down coat with me that compresses down really well. But it's, you know, if something really does happen where I really get cold, it's there. Yeah. Anyway, okay. Raw, Lambo, what is behind the scenes experience? Good raw. Okay, gotcha. You watched my collab with Jevin Dovey, which ironically, he's one of my favorite creators. Nice. Awesome. Andy, what was the experience like? Did I enjoy it or do I prefer to work alone? Well, Andy, so that's an interesting question. I enjoy taking people with me, although I've realized that when I take people with me, I get less done, less filmed, because I'm more focused on what they're experiencing as well. Now with Jevin, it was a both and thing because he's also a content creator, and I've followed him for years now. It was very different in the fact that, like, I wasn't worried about, like, making sure he captured the moments or pointing things out to him, if that makes sense. Like going, hey, like, check this out or anything like that. Because he's done enough stuff similar to what I do that I knew he's familiar with it. And so it was more like, you know, we're going to go do this today. And, you know, good luck. And so it was a blast. It was really fun to work with him. And I hope we get to work together again soon. I know we're chatting about potential things coming up this year to work together on and collaborate on. So we'll see. But I do enjoy that. I do enjoy working with other YouTubers because I don't get that opportunity very often. Yeah. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Exactly. Donald, you really like the videos on the Mavic 3 parallax effect with zoom. You've been practicing, however, I have to get far away from the subject. Lots of trees, stay above 150. It is hard, yes. It is very hard to use that lens because you do have to be so far away. It's, yeah. But the results can be just absolutely spectacular. Right, Kyle. And that's what, like, that's what I'm going to start doing with more gear reviews is, like, kind of going out, like, you know, hey, I got this new lens. We're going to go try and do this with it. And then the story is part of it. So, Mark H., thank you very much for the super chat, man. I really appreciate it. Glad you're back on Wednesday. Me too. Me too. I have missed these, and I'm glad to be back. And I think I'll be back more often now. And Mark Perry. I'm sorry. I don't know how to say that last name. I'm very sorry about that. But thank you very much for the $4.99 super chat. I do really, really, really appreciate it a lot. So One Vision Aerial, thoughts on the Mini 1 for night shots, night video? Is the sensor big enough to get good images as long as it's being old technology? The Mini 1, One Vision Aerial, I have never messed with it. I think we'd do okay at photos. I don't know that video would do very well, just because, you know, it's such a small sensor. I don't know. Let's go to Nepal with Jevin. So if you didn't know this, I did grow up in Nepal. I spent my formative childhood years there until I was early into my very early teen years. So I have some deep connections in that country, and I like it a lot. And it's been a while since I've been back. I think the last time I was back was 2007, maybe. It's been a while. But yeah, need to go back. LC Productions, have I tried the new Betaflight 4.4 rescue mode? No, but I hear it's amazing. So I'm getting ready to rebuild my cine lifters and a couple of my my 7-inch quad for mountain surfing stuff with the 03 air units, and also going to be upgrading to Betaflight 4.4 and then retuning them because it's very different. So anyway. Donald Miller, have I used and liked the Pocket 2? Yes, and I have a video about it on my channel. It's great. I don't use it very often, but it is very good for what it is. And the little mic that they give you, this is why I was so excited about the DJI mic, because the little mic that they gave you with the Pocket 2 Creator Kit is amazing. So if you're going to get it with that. In fact, I have mine. It's over there on my to sell shelf. So I'm considering selling mine, which comes with the, I have to make sure it still works. I mean, no reason it shouldn't. It just hasn't been used in a bit. Anyway, but I did a Pocket 2 versus GoPro Hero 11 video on my channel, which was kind of fun because it was wintry and rainy and snowy and just, yeah. And the Pocket 2, I will say, has significantly better low light performance than the GoPro Hero 9 I think I was using at the time. Yeah. Andy, you watched my How to Balance a Gimbal video. Awesome. 1 hour prior to a real estate shoot. Whoo! That's cutting it close, brother. I'm glad it helped you, and I'm glad it saved you, but wow, that is... hats off to you for, like, taking a risk there. You'll give it a shot and let me know how it turns out, One Vision. Do that. Do that. I am curious. The Pocket 2 has pretty good low light performance, and I think it's the same sensor and same like general programming as the Mini 1. So yeah, I mean it might do okay. You never know. So it was a yes to the POV videos. I'm glad to hear that. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Was there anything else? Was there anything else? I mean, there's new products coming. I don't know what else I was going to say. There was something else I was going to say, and I don't remember what it was now. Anyway, but yeah, so videos coming soon will be the Action 3, a new Action 3 versus the GoPro Hero 11, because I got a new one. And I was out testing it today, and I've been testing it for a little while. So that video is coming soon, and then a general like Action 3 action video. Yeah. So we'll see. Marcel, how's the Sherp? Is it as fun as it looks? So that's actually Fat Truck brand. And yeah, very fun. Very fun. Yeah, Sherp and Fat Truck are, you know, I guess it'd be like Ford and Chevy or something like that. But yeah, it's very fun. Very, very fun. Donald, do I use the Avata? I have not used the Avata much. Yeah, just I find that I still like the drones that I build better. But the Avata is, if anybody's asking me, like, I want to get into FPV, I don't really care about doing anything crazy, but I want to get into FPV, then I direct them to the Avata because it's such a great out-of-the-box thing. Yeah, so, yep, anyway. All right. Mark H., any thoughts on the Triple Tech 8 not syncing previews anymore from the Mavic Air 2S? I don't use the Air 2S anymore, that's true. I do have a Triple Tech 8. I don't use it very often because I'm using the Smart Controller, or not the DJI RC Pro or the DJI RC. But not syncing a preview. I don't. Did you do any updates recently? Or like maybe do you need to do an update of the app? Like I know with the Google Play Store and the DJI Fly app, there's kind of that weird like you can't just get it off the Play Store. You have to download it from DJI directly. I might start there and see if it's like, I like this. I like this a lot. Like it's much nicer. It's warmer. And so before, all right, this is a total squirrel. Where did I put my, I don't know, my remote for those lights back there is. Before I had lit with like 5600 Kelvin lighting, which is more like what you see here. So sunlight, white light, but I kind of like the warm. Maybe I'll just leave it brighter like that and we'll just throw warm light on it. We'll see. Enhance, it'll blow your mind. Any audio file, run it through, will clean the audio, significantly change your life. Any content. I have not used that. I have used the enhance on Lightroom, which is pretty good for like doubling the resolution of a photo. So I can imagine the audio enhance is pretty good from Adobe too. I don't use a lot of Adobe products because I am not a fan of the subscription model. I just am not. But I do use Lightroom and Photoshop, and that's the most I'm willing to pay for at the moment. Just, I don't like that everything's going subscription model. It's not, yeah, it is. LC Production, Action 2 with gyro is great. That's what I've heard. I have my Action 2 sitting over there. I haven't updated it yet, but I've heard it. I've heard that's great. Andy? Well, now I might have to try it, man. Stop talking me into it. Donald, do I use drone deploy? I do not. Yeah, I don't. Not for any particular reason. I just don't. Shutter Speed Ireland. You're doing your first Belfast City shoot at night with the Mavic 3. You don't have a night filter. I do have ND filters. Would I recommend flying without? So shutter speed, I would fly with no ND filters, just the clear filter that DJI gives you, and you should be fine. Yeah, I would do that over anything else. The only other thing you might want to do, like sometime down the road, is a UV filter, but it's not necessarily going to change. So all of the night footage you've seen from me with the Mavic 3, like when I did the Mavic night mode video, is with just the stock filter that DJI sends it with, the little clear glass one. I would just do that. Kind of jealous of you. The couple of times I've been to Belfast, I think that would be a really fun city to film at night. So, yeah. Donald, have I flown on Denali? No, because Denali is a national park, and it is a rigorous and daunting process to get a permit to fly a drone in any national park, let alone that one, because that one is very well known and famous. So I have not. Probably won't anytime in the near future. In fact, because they just redid the rules for national parks, where anybody filming any video for any commercial use, including posting on social media, has to get a permit now. I don't know that I will be filming in a national park very often because of the permitting process until that gets fixed. So 225 permits for photography. Yeah, see, photography, they treat completely differently. So I can go and take photos, no problem. Piece of cake. But to do video, then all of a sudden falls under this category of you're like a movie shoot with a crew of 50 people, and you need to book out your days in advance, and we need $150 per day plus a $300 application for the permit. And all that stuff has to be booked at least 4 weeks in advance, which means I'm gambling that the weather's going to be right for me to be able to walk into a national park and hold a camera like this, not talking about a drone at all, a camera, and walk through the park like any visitor, but film stuff there is a massive process. I can walk in there with a photography camera and be fine. But as soon as I switch it to video, it's a very different process. So I've been talking with my state senators and Congress representative, and I encourage everybody to do the same and just go, look, we need, like, I understand that for movies and big crews where you're going to have a large impact on the area. But if a single person is going to have no more impact than a visitor walking through, then can we do something different? Can we treat them differently? Can we offer if you're just a solo creator, my phrase, if you're going to have no more impact than any other visitor in the national park, then here's a permit for $300 for the year for you to be able to walk in there. Drones, not counting drones. Drones are still different. But anyway, I hope they do something like that. We'll see. And there's still pending litigation that could change all this too. But anyway, Andy, content creator, thank you so much for the super chat. You love the content. Oh, I appreciate it, man. I really do appreciate that. Thanks to you, you worked full time as a content creator and got freelance contract jobs around the country. Really, dude, that is awesome. I'm so glad to hear that. Sometimes I wonder if what I'm doing is helping people do that specifically, because honestly, that is a big part of why I'm doing this. For me, this came about because I was incredibly frustrated with what I was doing. And I hit some real walls, and I'm going to be doing a video about this, so I don't want to jump into too much detail, but like, this whole channel and doing what I'm doing now started because I was trying to get back in touch with my creative side. I didn't really intend on doing it as a business, like being a drone pilot, video photographer guy as a business, but it just sort of evolved that way. But then I realized as I started this channel that I did want to inspire other people who are maybe frustrated with what you're doing. You feel like you're doing things you're not supposed to be doing. Like I was working construction before this, and I hate construction, and nothing against it. I just don't like it. And being that I'm now in my 40s, it was getting considerably less easy to do and recover from the next day. Like hauling sheetrock up a flight of stairs and putting it on a ceiling. The next day I felt that, man. So it just, like, it's skills I had, but it's not something I ever really wanted to do for work. I've done it for myself. That's different. So yeah, I did want to inspire people to really go after what they're passionate about and be able to create a life, whether it's just a side gig or it's like becomes a full-time gig, which I so am excited to hear that's you. That's awesome, man. You know, yeah, I do, in whatever I do, I really do want to encourage people to follow their passion and find what they're passionate about and do it. And, you know, maybe it never becomes a full-time gig, or maybe it only even really doesn't do much for a part-time gig, but doing that will bring so much more life to you when you're doing it. You know, my wife shakes her head every time I go out in the middle of the night to try and shoot the aurora, which I've done a bunch this last week and a half, and I have come back with nothing. But I still like it, and I still come back feeling happy that I did it, even if I don't get anything from it. So anyway, so thank you very much. I really appreciate that, man. Let's see. Shutter Speed Ireland, thank you very much for the super chat. I really appreciate it. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate all you guys' support. It means a lot to me. They're going to charge you for breathing next? Yeah, exactly. Alaska VFX. It feels like kind of insane. Can one take a really quick hyperlapses at, say, taken at 24 pictures per second? I mean, you can film a video for like 20 minutes and then just speed it up. The problem is, unless you're very good or you use like waypoints and you're very precise on how you fly, you see a lot of this sort of stuff happen in the footage. So yeah, anyway, but you can, and I've done that before. You absolutely can. So one of the big things, and I need to do a video about this too. Gosh darn it, I should be writing all this down. Oh crap, the stream's almost done. Anyway, one of the tricks I've learned is, I need to do a video about this. When you're in big landscapes with a drone and you're not really close to the ground, one of the tricks is fly straight forward as fast as the drone will go at, 40 miles an hour, 45 miles an hour, let's say with the Mavic 3. But because the landscape is so huge and so vast, it feels almost like you're not moving at all. If you double the speed when you're editing that video in post, or triple the speed or 4 times the speed, then all of a sudden you realize that you are actually moving through that landscape. So that's one of the tricks to being able to get more movement and more motion. Now there's some other stuff you have to do. You have to watch the video to find out what they are, to make it right, to feel right. But then it does start to feel very much more like a helicopter airplane flying through a scene. So, yep, I need to make that video. Okay. Mark, they need to treat big crews differently than solo creators. Yeah, and that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying don't do it. Like, I don't mind supporting the national parks. I would be happy to pay for a $300, even a $500 permit to be able to go in a national park and film that year. I pay for an Alaska State Park parking pass every year, a yearly pass. And that gives me access to be able to park in any state park without having to pay every day. But I'm happy to pay that because I use the state parks a lot. And I would be happy to do that with the national parks too. They need to think differently, and they're not yet. Content creators, the social media, the stuff that we're doing now it's out of the box, and government moves slowly to adapt to stuff like that. So hopefully they will down the road. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. Andy, big time. You have no idea. He started the last 2 years. Like Major League Soccer. That's awesome, dude. That is so cool. I need to maybe get you on the do an interview with you or something like that. But that is awesome, and it really does mean a lot to me to hear that. Yeah, it does. Thank you very much. Done with videos. Just I'm at with drone. Oh, that's where you're at with drone videos. Frustrated. Wanting to start using drone for more photos. Need to balance it out. Do both. Expand creativity and threshold a little. One vision. Yes. So interestingly enough, I don't know when I'm filming it yet, but one of the videos I have that is in the books for the story series that I've been working on, which I've kind of dropped the ball in the last few months, is about limits and creativity. That's all I'm going to say for now. Anyway, but it's coming. What are the thoughts on the Mavic Mini 2? Cool settings effects. I don't have any cool settings effects, but the Mini 2 is a super solid drone. It's a great drone, and it's probably still the one that I recommend people get as a first drone because of the image quality out of it's solid, flies well. It's a great one. Hey, Ice Bike. Hope you're doing well. Let's see. The hour's near. All right, Alaska VFX. Awesome, man. So Ice Bike, I can empathize. Like, I've been building this out, this whole new studio space down here. Same studio space, I've just been rebuilding it. It's taking a lot of work because I built like all these are all sound panels with slats. And I built them all. Like I bought the raw wood, treated it, and I was thinking about restaining it. I might not now. I kind of like the way it looks right now. We'll see. I'll play with it a little bit more, but one thing, a couple of people here and I were talking about, like staining it a little darker. That might happen, but yeah, it's a lot of work. There's 100 vertical slats there that have to be individually stained and treated and then reattached. It's a lot of work. So, but I'm glad to hear you're on the tail end of yours. That's awesome. It's a lot of work. So, Loading Fish Mode, you've been one of my favorite drone YouTubers. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you, Loading Fish Mode. I do have one coming up soon. I don't know when I'm going to be able to edit it, but I filmed it yesterday as I was climbing a mountain. I have not, Donald. I'll have to check that guy out. I Spike, if you're the land down under and the land up over, is that how that works? I know we're on completely opposite poles. Anyway, someday I want to get down there. Someday I want to come and visit Australia. Anyway. Hey, Tar Heels. Doing well. Any info on FAA Part 108? Not yet, Donald Miller, but I really hope they roll that out soon. I think they're kind of waiting for remote ID dust to settle, and then they're going to jump into that. But I'm like, come on, bring that out. I want that. Part 108. Be great. So, thank you, Ice Spike. A video is coming about all this once I kind of finally put it all together. Sorry, I forgot. I forgot to stop tracking my mileage from the trip I was on today. Let's see. Okay. Definitely look forward to those videos. Keep an eye on notifications. Thank you, One Vision. Awesome. Wormwood is nice. Yeah, it is. Alaska VFX. Especially, or Alaska Filmer. Especially in the cold winters up here. Brad, what consumer drone am I most interested in being released this year? Brad, honestly, well, if they do an Air 3, I'll be interested to see what that's like. The Mavic 3 to me is just a spectacular drone. It's going to be hard for me to use anything else now. I sold my Mini 3 Pro because after a while I was just like, I can't not use the Mavic 3. I can't. Even though it's heavier for me to carry in places, hike up a mountainside or whatever, the footage quality, the ability for it to handle wind, all that, and I got to stop because I got to end the stream, and also I'm doing a long-term review with some other YouTubers who kindly pitched in of the Mavic 3, but yeah, anyway, it's fantastic. I am curious to see if they release an Air 3. I'll be very curious to see that, but the only other drone I'm really interested in is the Inspire 3. I really would like them to release the Inspire 3 for the larger commercial work that I do right now. Would be great. So yeah, that's my answer to that, Brad. Mark, is Part 108 beyond visual line of sight? I can't remember if it has beyond visual line of sight in there. I don't think it does. But essentially, it's going to allow drone pilots in the U.S. to fly in controlled airspaces under certain height limits without having to get special permissions, if that makes sense. So like if you're flying in, well, Chicago, let's take an example, Chicago. There are height restrictions there because of Midway Airport or O'Hare or Airport approach or, so there are height restrictions in place for those approaches. But the buildings are above many of those height restrictions because you have Sears Tower, a lot of those buildings are above the height restrictions. So right now you have to apply for, DJI to unlock your drone to be able to go higher than the building, which you can legally, be within 400 feet of a structure, Part 107. So from what I remember, and it's been a while since I looked at it, Part 108 is the ability to fly in those areas where it's like, yeah, an airplane is not going to fly between the buildings in Chicago unless there is a massive problem. And then that's a whole nother ball of wax anyway. Now, helicopters do, because I've been on the helicopters that fly between the buildings there, filming stuff. But airplanes should not. So Part 108 will unlock some of that potential. Like if you're staying below treetops, an airplane shouldn't be flying below the treetops in places. So it's something to do with that. It's been a while since I read about it, so I can't remember exactly off the top of my head, but yeah. So if they release it, I would be very excited about it because it would unlock places to fly. It would simplify places to fly where currently, I have to apply like through, not even just like through Lance, but it has to go through the FAA drone zone site because it has to get fed to different entities that are in charge of, this Orlando Executive Airport or something like that. And there goes my light. So I guess that means it's time to be done with the stream. Thank you, iSpike. I appreciate that, man. Where'd you say you are? You're Western Australia, 3 hours drive from the city of Perth. Okay, gotcha. All right. What's my medium to sell camera drone reliability? What is my medium? Oh, what do I use to sell? I use GearSource. In fact, I have a couple things on GearSource right now. I need to list a couple more things, I think. And my rule of thumb is like if I haven't used it in a year, 18 months, I probably just need to sell it because I'm probably not going to use it. There's a couple exceptions to that, but for the most part, like if I don't use a piece of gear for 12 months, I'm probably not going to need it. So, although some of it's not worth selling, but I literally have like 6 gimbals here around because people send me their gimbals and I need to, yeah. Anyway. Okay. So yeah, I use GearSource, the M&R. That's what I use. Thoughts on the Mini 2 drone. Get a nicer one. Get the most out of it. Not sure what my thoughts are. So the Mini 2 is a spectacular starter drone. If you want to get a little bit better image quality, actually a fair amount better image quality, and you don't mind spending a fair bit more, then the Mini 3 Pro is where I would go next because it also has obstacle avoidance. But the Mini 2 is excellent, and I really still like that drone as a beginner drone. I need to update my what's the best beginner drone video, don't I? Crap. I sold my Mini 3 and my Mini 2. Oh, the Mini 2 I could still get a hold of. Yeah. Anyway, okay. Let's see, Donald, if you go to Australia, you have to go to Wilson's, Victoria, State of Victoria, Tasmania. Yes, absolutely. I would love to. All right, that's going to do it for the stream for this week. I should be back next week unless I'm out in the wilderness somewhere. But if I have cell phone reception out in the wilderness somewhere, I'll still try and do a stream out there. And you'll get a live on place stream where we are. But until then, thank you very much for being part of this channel. Thank you for watching the videos that I post. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for your support, especially for those of you that super chatted tonight or today, wherever you are. It really does mean a lot to me, and I just thank you very much. So I'll be back same time, same place next week. Before that, though, well, maybe same place. Before that, there will be at least one video coming, maybe 2, and I hope you enjoy them. Till then, be safe, be smart. I'll see you again soon in the next video. Cheers.